What's up guys, Luke here, and today we are playing Euro Truck Simulator, the original one. So, let's start up my truck. As you can see, I'm not very far into the game. I'm still only in the UK, and I still have the basic Swift truck, which is the one I opted for. But you can see I've done a reasonable amount of miles. I've done 5,600k. So, I've decided that I'm going to start recording this in 720p, because why not? Why waste 1080p? Now, we are going to be going from Newcastle to London, and we are going to be hauling diesel. So, this is the job offer screen for those of you who haven't seen it, and for those of you who aren't aware what Euro Truck Simulator is, and somehow haven't been able to work it out from this map and the picture, well, the fact I was driving a truck, you are driving a truck and delivering various items. You start out within one country, which I believe you get to choose. In my case, of course, I chose the UK, and then you can gradually unlock your way into other countries. I haven't got anywhere near enough money yet to unlock France, but hopefully I will do soon. I have, of course, unlocked. I paid for the license so I can haul petrol and diesel, although I haven't got the ones for acid yet. So, without any further ado, I'm going to take the job. I'm going to switch to the outside view of my cab, and there's my tanker. Whoops. That is not how you're supposed to attach your tanker trailer. But whatever, we got away with it. So, let's see my interior. Now, let's look right. I can't see anyone coming. And obviously we're going to want to go that way, so we put on our indicators. There is nobody coming at all. So there we go. Line up the cab the way I like to have it aligned. There we go. This is the outside view, of course. And stop. You can get fined for jumping red lights, you get fined for traffic infringements, and you get fined for speeding. The speed limit in the city is 30 kilometers an hour, which is a bit weird because you'd have thought it would be 30 miles an hour since it's the UK, although you don't seem to get fined for going over 40, or going for about 40, which is very weird. It seems like they forgot to correct the speed limits in the UK to account for what they are, for the fact it's miles an hour here. So in these built-up parts it's 30, and then it gets to 60, and then, as far as I can tell, it's unlimited, but I tend to prefer to move at about 80, because you've got to think about fuel conservation to some degree. There we go. In 5th gear, and just pootling along, and once we're clear of that traffic signal, I shall raise the speed up to 60 kilometers an hour. Now, as far as I can tell, there are no police cars, but you still can get fined. I press I can then check what my cruise control is set to. So it's 57 kilometers an hour. So now we're just going to sit at this speed until we hit the main motorway, as we have now left Newcastle. Again, there's a 60 limit sign coming up, like there. So I can look around the cab, and I can look around over there, and I can then wander out of my lane. As normal at the moment, I'm doing this with the keyboard, so it's easier to make the small changes. In all seriousness, this game is a lot easier with a keyboard than it is with a steering wheel. So, as we cruise along the road, there is a sign coming up. Unfortunately, the rendering distance isn't great in terms of how clearly it renders things, even at 1080p. Obviously, when I'm running it in 720p, it's even worse. So, we're going to want to change lanes. So, look at my mirror, there's no one over there, so we're safe to change lanes. And then we cancel the indicator. So, at the moment, I'm basically trying to unlock the next Well, I'm trying to unlock France. I'm trying to get enough money, and that I always have problems with these. I'm trying to have enough money so I can go to France, and that will be much more interesting, maybe. One of the flaws of this game, at least the original Euro Truck Sim, is that you can only really go to 3 different places. And most of the time, it only really makes sense to go from London to Newcastle, because that's the most profitable route. It doesn't make much sense going to Manchester at all. So that's weird. But yeah, you've only got London, Manchester and Newcastle. Obviously the road systems aren't even close to accurate. There's other places on the map, there's other junctions and things, but there's no signpost to them. Well, there is Dover, but that's only for a port. There's no signpost to them, and you sort of aren't. There's sort of barrier things. Also, I should be raising my speed rather than sitting at 60. Well, this truck does accelerate quite quickly when it's not got a load on, but as you can see, it's not what I'd call rapid with a full load. There we go. And 81 kilometers an hour I've set the speed to. Whoops, and I just accidentally activated the parking brake, which was really stupid of me. So, we have to now climb back up to the speed and activate 81 again. This truck has 9 gears. It's currently supposedly 18 degrees outside. I need to look at actually being in the right lane. That's not how you're supposed to change lanes, and I'm aware of that. Fortunately, you seem to be able to get away with quite a lot, or at least with however I have it set up. I didn't change it from when I started playing again. Now, you may be able to notice that there is a person icon in the top right, next to the amount of money I have, which is partially filled with blue. That is the fatigue meter. When it fills it completely, you need to stop in a rest station quickly and take a break, or you will start to doze off and the screen will go blurry and all sorts of fun things will happen. And yes, I realise I should have looked before changing lanes there, however, I also didn't have much time to do that. That's one of the poorly designed junctions in this. So we're now just cruising down the M1. It's sort of, well, it's 6 AM, so it's very early morning. Sun's coming out. Traffic cars, there's not enough of them, but they do look quite good actually. So we just had a Seat Toledo, I've forgotten already, a Fiat Punto, and a Ford Mondego passed, and there's another Toledo, or at least I think it is. That's a Skoda Fabia. So you can definitely tell what they are. There's also Ford Transits and Audi A3s. Transit on the other side of the road. So pointlessly pointed at, even though that's not being recorded, because fuck logic. There are other trucks that run around like there is to my left, which I also pointed at for no reason. So we're going to want to change lanes now because we want to go in the lane, stay on the M1 to go to London to buy a Heat magazine. No, there goes a Fabia. Sometimes the traffic messes up and crashes into each other. That has happened a few times. So we're just cruising down the M1. We do not want to go onto the M62, that would be pointless and make us go the wrong way. There also aren't that many colour variations of all the cars, which is a little disappointing. Now, I don't know if the cars change in continental Europe, because obviously I've never gone that far. I suspect that they won't, but it would be nice if they did. Because obviously these cars are certainly the Fords, or what you'd expect to spot in the UK. You know, it would be nice if in France you got lots of Citroens and things. Citroens or Peugeots or something like that. I think that would be quite nice. So, just casually cruising. This game is quite old now. I don't know how old, but I do know it is fairly old. One annoying thing about going from Newcastle to Manchester is that on the quick route there isn't actually a service station, which I think is patently ridiculous. But there we go. We're going to pull in at this next service station. Some nice fields to my left, with a typical rolled up hay bale, one of which is rolled downhill and end up next to the road. and then almost merged with another one. Don't know why they put them that close to the road. That's a bit of an odd decision. Right, you can now see just ahead the service station. So we're going to lift off the power, cancel cruise control, set it down to 60, and then slow down, cancel the indicator. They also have goals, Mark 5 goals in this game. There we go. So we now need to press E, and then we hold down, and we bring the tank. And then we're also going to have a rest, because we might as well. So we spent €204 on filling up the tank. Forward a bit. Put on the parking brake and sleep. And this is what you see when you're asleep. And I have now filled my tank up 10 times apparently, so that's nice. You get these little reports every time you wake up, assuming you've completed something noteworthy enough to get one. So, turn on the engine. And disengage the parking brake. There we go. Now, I don't know how volatile the fuel in the fuel tanker is, because obviously I've never actually tried to crash and blow it up, because I'm kind of driving vaguely sensibly for the most part. And there we go. 80 kilometers an hour exactly. Fantastic. So we can do 1,320 kilometers on this tank of fuel. We could when I said that. If I remember correctly, I deliberately picked the truck with the biggest fuel tank. I can't remember if it had any advantages elsewhere. There are better trucks available in this game if you have the money. I can't remember what they are. I will go and have a look, because the truck dealer was shut last time I was in London. It probably will be again this time, but fortunately there is a rest point at that junction. Right, so we're going to want to change lanes. So we look, and we drift across the road like a moron, but now we're in the right lane. Or rather, the middle lane. There's another punter. Cruising down the M1, let's just realign my camera. Also, I just accidentally hit the power for no apparent reason, so that was smart. This truck is loosely based on, well, not loosely, it is Scania, but they're not licensed. Which I think is a shame. It would be nice if they'd licensed. I will do another video of this. I think you may have said this when I have unlocked France, because I think that'll be a lot more interesting to see. So am I slowing down? No. Not really. Okay, now is this one of the ones going to be in the left-hand lane or not? I'm kind of watching the car that's about to overtake me. Yep, that's a Mark 5 Golf, so yes, we do want to come across. There we go. This truck now has passed 6,000 kilometers. Okay, that's nice. So we're now just pootling along in the inside lane. There goes the transit. The number plates aren't English, which is another little bit of an immersion breaker. I believe Euro Truck Simulator 2 is quite a lot better than this, but I don't own it and I haven't played it, so I can't testify either way. So this game is good. It's a good time killer, but it's quite dull doing the same route over and over in the same truck. And it's like there's no point hauling some of the cheaper cargo. I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't want to haul the more dangerous cargo like I am now. But why would you want to haul the lowest value regular cargo when you can just haul some more expensive stuff? Because at least on this difficulty setting, there's no penalty for being late or anything. I don't know if there is on any difficulty setting. Also, the truck does have a tendency to veering off randomly. Okay, 59 kilometers an hour. Let's go in the left-hand lane. So now we're sat at 60 kilometers an hour. Also, I forgot to put the fuel gauge back on after I checked the speed we were doing. There is let's press F5 and show you. So this is the basic map. Obviously, you can see that France only has 3 places really, although there are a bit more spread out. So you can see the countries you can go to more clearly here. Italy only really has Rome. Like Poland only has Warsaw. It's not great, but it'll be a lot more fun when I do get the ability to go to Europe. Because if I'm able to haul from Newcastle to Bordeaux or Lyon, that's going to be quite a long trip and quite a lot of money. Then here's a career progress. So as you can see, that was pretty straightforward, and so was that. And obviously, that I needed that much money to unlock the diesel and petrol hauling anyway. Quite a long way off that, because I used to drive to the petrol station with no trailer, which I now realise was A, stupid, and B, a waste of fuel, as well as being a waste of time. So let's go back to the main road and just continue to cruise slowly and gently as we hit London, and try not to hit the wall, which would be a bad idea. Now you can see from that red circle that is my destination, so that's where I'm going to aim for. Okay, so now we drop to 30 kilometers an hour, which we're doing 31, but it's near enough. Your truck does suffer wear and tear as you go through the game. You see, they're not doing 30 kilometers an hour. Maybe they're doing 30 miles an hour. I don't know. This obviously doesn't look that much like London, although it does look vaguely city-y. The cab looks quite nice, which is good because this is where you're sitting all the time. So we're going to want to go left off this junction. As you may be able to guess, the wrench or spanner, depending on whether you're American or English, is where you go to get your truck repaired, and where in London you buy new ones. Rev counter needles going all over the place. Interesting. Ooh, have to stop, and we did just. That was a bit abrupt. Had I been going faster, I'd have made it, but there we go. Green light. And cruise. We're going to want to come left off this one again. Don't really need to indicate that early, but I do it sometimes so I don't have to think about it. I'm also betting this turns red just as I approach it. Yep. It's quite hard to smoothly accelerate and decelerate when you're using a keyboard. Well, in fact, it's impossible. And then you get randomly beeped at by cars for stopping a little short of perhaps where you need to be. Sometimes you get cut up by cars as well, which I think is a fairly accurate representation of life. So, here we go. Now, for the most challenging part of the entire game. Trying to get these damn trailers in those slots. Although, fortunately, it's not totally anal about how straight you are. Of course, with lorries, you've got to remember that everything rotates around the opposite way to how you think when you're reversing. Fortunately, I think I might actually got this. Have I got this? Just back a bit more. There we go. Cargo is ready to detach. Shut up the annoying reversing horn. And there we go. €6,320. And no penalties for doing something stupid. Brilliant. So, let us see what cargo we can get here. The answer is nothing really valuable. So, we're going to want to go to Stokes. So we may, as well, en route, go to mechanics. And yes, I know I'm crawling. Okay. Now, stop crawling. Nope, can't get through there. Come on. Damn it, traffic. So it's not easy to know if they're actually trying to let you out or if they're just being strange. Oh, you're kidding me, right? Typical. Also, we don't need to keep that on. Yep, as usual, I get beeped at by a car for no apparent reason. So there's no one to my left. There we go. Change lanes safely. Okay, now, which lane am I supposed to be in? I think I'm supposed to be in the right lane. Yes, I most definitely am. Okay, let's turn right. Oh crap, yes, that's where the blinking truck yard is. There we go. So, that's where I can sleep. So, let's do that, because I'm pretty sure the truck dealer is shut. So, we're going to sleep a couple of times here. The reason being is that we want the truck dealer to actually be open. So, there we go, couple of sleeps. We spin the truck around, and let's cancel the indicator before it pisses me off. Let's pull in. Yeah, consider they haven't put the badges on the vehicles, but they are very clearly what you think they are. So, we have 18,000 euros, lots of screen tearing. Hope that doesn't come through too much on the video. So, that Swift truck, that green one, is mine. So, what do we have? So that would cost me 90,700 euro to get. That's obviously more powerful. I have the Swift C-Class, which is the bottom end truck. At least I think I do. Yeah, it's got to be mine. Tank size is right. Let's see, these higher classes are obviously more expensive. They've got much more power, they've got more gears, and they've got much bigger fuel tanks. So they're the sort of thing you want if you're going across Europe quite often. So my C-Class was, I think it certainly had the biggest C-Class of all the biggest fuel tank of all C-Classes. But I don't think it was the most powerful. It only has 470 horsepower. Yeah, that was the worst class. The Majestics are Mercedes. These are Renault Magnums. Again, that is a terrible truck that I wouldn't go anywhere near. Brunner A-Class is not a bad buy. And the Valiants are Volvos. Again, you can quite clearly tell what they're supposed to be. This one's a little more powerful than mine. It's got more torque as well, but it's got a smaller fuel tank, and I was more concerned with fuel tank size than anything else. So, you can see that my truck's got a 12-litre V6, which is obviously quite a lot smaller than this 16-litre V8 with 620 horsepower. Quite nice, but I'm a long way away from getting anything like that. So, let us now turn around and let us head to Stokes. So, sit here, let the Golf out, and then we turn right, and then into this lane. I do like how much the trucks rock when you accelerate. It's just like a real truck would do, which is quite a nice touch. Okay, so now we're just sitting here, pootling along at 30 kilometers an hour. The speed the truck really doesn't like going at, and to be perfectly honest, I don't either, but there's no point indicating because it can only go one way. In this lane. I think that might be because I'm not lined up. Yep, I'm not even remotely lined up in that lane. See, now that was a justified beep, but they like to beep you regardless. It's like a lot of games, actually, when you park in traffic. Also, I just sped quite a lot. Unless it is a 30-mile-an-hour limit. Also, hang on, have I just missed the entrance completely? No. Wait, have I? Did I miss the entrance? Watch all the fuel get burned. No, I didn't. It's on the other side of the road, that's why. It accelerates backwards quite quickly. Okay, so that was a bit embarrassing. So, diesel to Newcastle. Newcastle, so the most expensive thing is going to be diesel. Medical supplies fetch a lot, of course, as well. So, going to finish this video the way we started it. By hauling diesel, but we're going to do it in reverse. Nope, that's the wrong way. There we go. So, out we come. Okay, good. Adieu, London. Let's not speed too much. Ah! Oh, that was close. That's the other reason why I don't like doing more than about 40k. Because you can't stop in time otherwise. Also, I'm not sure I'm lined up properly. I'm not. So, whoever comes to the right of me is going to get annoyed. Yeah, I think we're going to leave it 40k. There we go. 6th gear. 40 kilometers an hour. It'd be nice if the speedometer was in miles an hour, but I can live with it. I think there might be a setting, but it's not a big drama. And considering that when I leave the UK, the speed limits are almost certainly going to be in kilometers an hour anyway, even if this one isn't, it doesn't really seem like there's much point. It's like I'm driving a left-hand drive truck. It would be nice if it was right-hand drive, but it's no major drama. So, we're about to hit the 60 kilometer an hour limit sign, so here we go. Crank up the speed. There we go. So, speedo set at 58. Can easily make it to Newcastle on this tank of fuel, but of course I will fuel up beforehand. Well, not beforehand, but I'll fuel up on the way. That's the other thing. It would be nice if there was a fuel station in the city centres. It doesn't make sense that there isn't one. There's a little weird little bits and pieces on this game. I do intend to play some of the American truck games, certainly Hard Truck Road to Victory, and if I can find what I did with it, 18 Wheels of Steel, one of those games. Because I played those quite a lot a few years ago, but Hard Truck Road to Victory is fairly easy to get hold of, because or at least it was on abandonware sites, like classicgaming.net. That would be a Let's Play Classic, which I haven't done as anything in the series for that for quite a while. So, let's accelerate up to 80 kilometers an hour, shall we? The engines do sound decent and definitely sound diesely. See, I'd like to see some. This game was like, it's a good start, but there's so much more it could have done. You know, I mean, even with the scenery, it would be nice to have like some trains going by or something, or maybe the odd plane going overhead, particularly when you're around London. You know, because you do hear planes quite a lot in London. I mean, you get nice things like this dump truck going sat on this bridge they're building, but Right, so we don't want to go to Manchester on the M6, so we want to change lanes. There's no one near, so we're okay. Cancel the indicator. Check my road positioning. It's not great, but it will do. Realign the camera. And settle in for the drive to Newcastle. I am glad they didn't make this, real time. Because it would take so long to drive at the speed limit from Newcastle to London. So then it would make the Newcastle to Manchester journey more feasible, more understandable, but now it's just not enough of a difference for it to be worthwhile. Okay, I'm going to the inside lane as usual. We are a truck and we are following a slow speed, so we're also nowhere near where we want to be on the road. Also, 50 miles an hour is technically the speed limit for the motorways in this country for a truck-ish. Certainly a fully loaded Arctic, like I am. Oh dear. I'm definitely back into the swing of driving games again, even though I'm still using just a keyboard. Hence why most of the videos recently, when I actually have been putting them out on computer games, have been driving games. Certainly they're the games that I grew up playing the most, and it's actually surprising that I haven't made more videos on them, to be honest. Some of it was definitely down to the fact that I've rarely been able to have my wheels set up properly, but it's not been an excuse for all of them. Certainly Trackmania and Need for Speed's games were not. Certainly Trackmania, because I don't even need a disc for that. Okay, and pull in, gently slow the truck. There we go. Engine off. Yeah, I don't need a disc for Trackmania. I do for the Need for Speed games, but I'm surprised I just haven't made more. We're also going to take a rest, because that's always a good idea, just to stay on top of it. I've only become drowsy once. Unfortunately, I only began to black out just as I was actually pulling up to the rest stop, so I didn't have too many problems there. Build up the speed. It's obviously night time now. The other thing about this game, of course, is most things are either motorway driving, inner city driving, or sort of dual carriageway driving. There's nothing that really there's no, you have to end up driving a truck down a really narrow, twisty road with a fully laden cargo, which is obviously quite common in parts of the UK. Also, traffic never seems to get that high. Even at rush hour, there's not that much traffic around. I don't know if, again, there's a setting that I'd change to that. That's my horn. There's also no penalty for going full beam, or there's no point in using narrow beam, because there's no penalty for using full beam. You don't cause the accidents, you don't get complained at. So just use full beam and you can see better. There is an upgrade system, so my truck has been upgraded in fuel consumption very slightly. So I had the first upgrade. You can also upgrade the engine, and I'm not sure if it was handling or something else, but well, you can certainly upgrade the power. But I don't see the point in doing it on my base model truck. I would rather wait until I go and buy a Class A truck, which I will do eventually when I have the money. But again, it's all a juggling act of what you want to do when. So, I mean, I could have not bought the fuel tanker and just saved all my money up to go straight to France. But it would work out quicker to do it the way I did. Likewise. Oh, that was close. There's not much I could do there, unfortunately. Likewise, you could just wait. You could just make loads of money on the 3 to 4K trips, and then go and buy the biggest truck you can beforehand. Now, I don't know if Class A trucks can haul bigger loads. I would certainly expect them to, because otherwise they're a bit pointless on their bigger fuel tanks. But I certainly expect them to be able to pull heavier loads and therefore make more money. Also, therefore, I don't know what sort of things they'll be hauling. That's something I haven't yet to obviously find out. I mean, the thing is, this truck, it's more than fast enough. It doesn't accelerate very quickly to 80 kilometers an hour, and it doesn't go much beyond that. I'll give them that. But it's like there's not much point anything else if they can't haul bigger loads, because this truck is more than quick enough. And obviously, it's only the fuel tank size that the other trucks have an advantage on. And some of the Class B trucks, you're talking 50 litres, which is irrelevant, really. When you're filling up quite regularly on journeys like I am, you know, I don't let it run low, not particularly. The lowest I ever had was about 220 litres. And that was simply because I ran from London to Newcastle, and then Newcastle to Manchester with the latter route not being a petrol station, so that's why that got so low. And that's still like 400 odd kilometres, so just cruising up the M1. Nice wind turbine to the left, not a windmill as some people would call them. My road positioning is absolutely awful, but again, there's no penalty for it. It's not easy to keep yourself lined up properly anyway. There's no need to go into this service station. I'm not that tired, and I've got more than enough fuel, so we're just going to keep on trucking. There is rain, which, incredibly, it hasn't actually rained whilst I've been doing this. The rain effect is reasonable, but it's kind of pointless, you know. I haven't noticed it change the physics in any way, or anything like that. Game's really easy when you stick it in cruise control. Woo. You just have to worry about steering things and making sure that you've lined the cruise control up properly. So, you know, that's a nice river. Whoops. But, you know, it doesn't really feel like England, you know. It just feels like generic European country. I mean, what on earth is that wall supposed to be? For example. There were so few cars both on the road and so little car variation, it is quite weird. I will play Euro Truck Simulator 2 at some point, but when that'll be, I don't know. Okay, so let's just cruise, and because I know that I need to come up here, because I happen to know where this place actually is, because I've been there before, which is always helpful. Because this one's a little weird, because it's quite a way away from Newcastle, actually. Also weird is the fact that, you know, I mean, you thought they put Glasgow or Edinburgh in here as well. And why Newcastle and Manchester? Why those places? No, I mean, London makes sense, but what's particular to trucking about Newcastle or Manchester? I mean, okay, Newcastle is one of the furthest points away from London, but Manchester's nothing special. Why not Liverpool or Leeds or even Birmingham in the middle? You know, if you wanted to actually make a point to the middle run, why not use Birmingham? Or why not just have Glasgow even further up, or Edinburgh, or even something like Aberdeen, which is even further away? It's all very weird. So I would like to have had some properly twisty roads. I mean, this bit's a little twisty, but it's not a challenging twisty, not in the slightest. I don't feel like I'm about to fall off the road. The hardest bits are getting onto on some of the motorway M ramps. That's just annoying. That's not that hard. Okay. Also, you can knock over signs in this and apparently suffer very little damage or no fine either. Now, this is quite a nice yard because it's so big that there's generally quite a lot of room to manoeuvre yourself in. Although at the moment, I'm not doing the best job of that. There we go. Look at that. Whoops, it's going a little too far. And yes, there are a lot of annoying chicken noises. I don't know how loud I've set the sound to, so I can't tell you how much. So I don't know how much you're hearing them. But if you are hearing them, yes, they are there, and yes, they are annoying. There we go. Whoops, nope. And attach my trailer. Did I not line it up properly? Obviously, I didn't line it up properly. There we go. No damage. No penalties. So, there we have it. That was Euro Truck Simulator, people. So, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and maybe share my channel. It would really help me out. And I hope to see you back here in the very near future. If I haven't pissed you all off and making you really, really dizzy. So, have a good day, guys, and see you soon.